Oh no, not another book haul. But yes, my friends, here we are. It is almost the end of March. That's terrifying. And once again, I have proven my complete lack of restraint when it comes to buying books. I have a book haul. There's a couple of interesting features to this one. And I'm really going to have to stop doing this. I'm going to run out of house. But there's some exciting ones here. I didn't do a book haul in March, it just accumulated, so arguably this is my book haul since the 2nd of January, or whenever that was, the last one was. This is the book haul of upgrades, and I have already produced one video about one particular upgrade here. I acquired Robinson Crusoe in this beautiful hardcover edition. Don't normally go for hardcovers. But this is an illustrated, unabridged one, and I'm very excited about that. I have already talked about that one, so I'm just going to show you once again the cover illustration, because how gorgeous is that? With this little onion skin cover. Lovely. You could just pat it, couldn't you? I could. So that was one upgrade, but there have been a few more. So in my pursuit of collecting all of the Agatha Christie's, I found The Secret of Chimneys in this decent condition Fontana a while ago, but I then came across this fantastic pan edition, The Secret of Chimneys. The pans are older, paper covers, and this one is in such good condition. Oops. It's not unread. You can tell from the spine that it has been opened, but it's got almost no napping, almost no discoloring, almost no foxing, and I couldn't resist. It was $4 at a bookshop up in Lismore that has a wonderful habit of, instead of writing or putting a sticker in, they put a little post-it note with minimal glue, so it comes off beautifully. The only damage to this is the corner is slightly bent, but I couldn't resist that upgrade, even though I do have that book, and I think I even reviewed it last year. Another one was Brideshead Revisited. I've got Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh on my to-read list, but then I came across this Penguin copy that I do like. The Penguin copies better. This one is number 800, or is it 900 and 821, and still visible on the spine. I couldn't resist that. I'm going to keep this one. I think it's an ugly cover. It comes from the movie or the TV series. I can use this as a reading copy. I'll take it to the beach. But I've got this much nicer copy right here, and I appreciate that. Alexander Kent, a Richard Bolitho story, Stand Into Danger. I have read a couple of the Bolithos, but I find them strangely addictive to collect because of the ship and the Navy connection. And in this one, Richard Bolitho is now a newly appointed 3rd Lieutenant. My copy wasn't in great condition. This was. I've already gotten rid of the other copy. Another book haul was Stranger in a Strange Land. This here on the left, being held together by Hope and plastic, is not my copy. The original copy I read, the original copy my parents read, and it is well read, shall we say. In fact, it is in about 4 different pieces. You have to turn the page, pick the page up and turn it over. And so when someone offered me this almost mint condition, I was really thrilled. It's got the right image. I really do like that image on The Stranger. It's in good condition. The glue doesn't make sad crackling noises when you turn the pages. It isn't, of course, a first edition. I don't think it's a first. No, it isn't a first edition. This is an April 1976 edition, but I was really glad for that upgrade. I'm not sure I can bring myself to entirely get rid of the copy my parents owned, but I think there's another. Oh, yes. So this was the upgrade that shouldn't have happened. I saw this beautiful little puffin of Charlotte's Web, and I just couldn't resist. It cost 10 cents or something. That's my excuse. But once I got it in the car, I thought, why did I get that? Of course, I've still got my original copy that I've had since I was a kid. So is that an upgrade? I don't know. But now I have 2 of them. I'm going to have to think that one through. Another one was The Age of Reason by Sartre, who I'm probably mispronouncing. This is my original copy, which I have read once before. It's a paperback. Its cover is spectacularly beautiful. It was also my parents' edition. And last time I tried to open it and start rereading it, I'm not sure which it is with that book, it made a sad crackling sound. So when someone offered me for, I think it was $3, a new copy that doesn't make sad crackling sounds, I've got that. So now I've got a whole pile of books that are double ups, more books than many people have. What else did I acquire? Well, I was picking up the Sartre from the same location, Stephen King, Cell. I haven't read this one, and I do feel, having listened to a few people talk about Stephen King on BookTube, I'm starting to think that I am well ready to reread some of his stuff, get back into it, as it were. From the same location, Carl Jung, Memories, Dreams and Reflections, and Autobiography. I'm quite partial to Jungian psychology, and his symbology and dream work was fascinating, his and his students. I used to have this book, and I went to check a reference in it, I don't know, a couple of months ago, and I couldn't find it. So I'm guessing that I purged it sometime when I was travelling between locations. Foolish Deborah. Past Deborah should learn from current Deborah and never get rid of books ever again. A primer of Jungian psychology came from the same source. Never actually read one of these, so that could be quite interesting. It's a short book. Hope to get to it sometime soon. And same location, Ariel by Sylvia Plath. I have to admit, I don't love Sylvia Plath. I have read some of hers before. Can't quite get into it. But just last year, I read Ted Hughes's collection of poems, and I want to try Ariel by Sylvia Plath because I think it'll be really interesting comparing the two. If I understand it correctly, Ariel is poems mostly written after she separated from Ted Hughes, and Ted Hughes' book, which is somewhere here, was never published until after her death, so it could be interesting. Okay, Amy McClellan, Remember Me. I used to read a lot of true crime and just regular thriller crime. I don't know why. I might be moving into that phase again because I bought this one. It's one of those tombstone size of books, but I bought it anyway. I might read it. I hope so, having bought it. And in the same vein, I went to a dump shop where they had 10 books for $2. And so when I was there, The Hunt for the Yorkshire Ripper, Wicked Beyond Belief. I have heard of this book. It's a tombstone, but I do believe it's well written and quite interesting. So now I have it. Next time in the mood for a bit of true crime. What else? Oh, yes. From that same location, I tried so hard not to buy Molly's Decision. It's this old hardcover, but in my defense, hardcover or not, it's old enough and small enough it will fit into my bookshelves. Hooray. It's got this nifty illustration on the cover and on the spine, and it has got those really thick, heavy pages that come in blocks. And they come in blocks because they are actually sewn into the binding, which I find very interesting. So I was trying very hard not to buy... Oh, look at this. The calligraphy with which the centre page says that this book was presented to Winifred Fred Bleep by the B.A. Point Sunday School of something or other on the 26th of the 10th, 1919. There's the history of that book in itself nearly tempted me, and then I saw its colour front piece, which is just stunning, and I was halfway there. I was rather off-put by the fact that it was printed by the Society for Promoting Christian Knowledge, because that isn't really my jam. And in pursuit of talking myself out of it, I opened the book and I read a little bit of a section, only to find that it takes place in Wales, which fascinates me. Wales just seems like the most fascinating country in the United Kingdom to me. And so I was lost. And it's got other front pieces. Miss Eliza slowly and solemnly nodded, for example. I couldn't resist it. I don't know if I'll read it cover to cover, especially if it goes very religious on me, but still, couldn't resist. Also in the 10 for $2, I found For Those I Loved by Martin Gray. This is possibly a true story. Martin Gray was in his 14th year when the Nazis marched into Poland. On his 19th birthday, he entered Berlin with the Red Army. In the intervening years, in the Warsaw Ghetto, in the death camp at Treblinka, with the partisans and the something or other in the forest, Martin Gray grew up in a hell on earth. World War II. Another one that used to be a thing of mine. And I think for the last one at that location was Turning the Tide on Plastic. I haven't read this. I have heard about it a number of times, never got my hands on it before. I especially love the fact that because it's exposing the problems with plastic on the world, even though it was published in 2018, and I don't know if you can see this, the cover is actually cardboard rather than the plasticated covers that you more often see on newer books. What's that, you say? Another Masterworks. Yes, I was so pleased to find this. Aslan Wants You by M.J. Ench. I have got no idea who the author is, no idea about the book, but it's a Masterworks, who have not so far led me astray, and I'm quite pleased to get that. Don't remember where. However, I do remember that outside a small bookshop I saw free books, and I found Joan Aiken, A Necklace of Rainbows. Joan Aiken writes weird, spooky, sometimes child stuff, like The Shadow Guests, which is spooky on the same zone as Alan Garner or Susan Cooper or one of those. And I've very much enjoyed everything of Joan Aiken that I've read. So I just grabbed it. It was free. What can I say? I'm a sucker for books. Having opened it, I discovered that it was perhaps a little bit younger than I expected. It's got this spectacular front piece illustration that I thoroughly loved. And there are illustrations throughout. Young it might be, but it's Joan Aiken, and I am going to read it. How good is that orange cat? That'll be fun. Fun for when I'm in the right mood for it. I think it was the same place where I found Alistair MacLean, The Dark Crusader, in Fontana, in a spectacularly good condition book for its age. It's been a while since I read an Alistair MacLean. I don't know that I've ever have read The Dark Crusader. The Alistair MacLeans that I do already have are completely and utterly falling apart, and this one isn't, so that's nice. And if I'm not mistaken, there we go. 8 advertisements, 8 jobs, 8 specialists in modern technology required. And one of them, advertisement number 9, Sydney, Australia, fuel specialist required. Looks like a job for John Bentle. Sydney, Australia, a fierce whodunit set on a rocket-proving island in the Pacific, moves at jet pace. I am going to love this. There can be very little doubt about that. So I couldn't resist picking that one up. And then I found, and I can't remember where, Sword of the Grail by Andrew J. Offit. I don't have many Offits. You don't see them that often. Ardon Aros is definitely my favourite. The other Offit I've got is apparently a second or third in a series, so I've been keeping my hands off it. Next time I want to read an Offit, I have Offit. That's not something you hear in the wild often. Rudyard Kipling Just So Stories is part of a large haul that I received of children's books. I seem to do this a lot, but within a children's books haul there are often some things that I really want, like that Robinson Crusoe, which is not a children's book by any stretch of the imagination. And the people who are getting rid of them are usually doing it for various reasons. I don't actually have the Just So stories. I have read them, but I don't own them at present, so that was okay. And to go with the Robinson Crusoe, Grimm's Tales. My copy of Grimm's Tales fell apart many years ago. This one also fell apart. It has no spine, but it does have those beautiful thick pages that have been sewn together and a number of illustrations. I'm glad to have some Grimm's Tales again, even if I don't really know the provenance of these. Great cover though, right? Now, from one of the more adult hauls, I've got The Boxman by Kobo Abe. This is a book that I have heard about, and I've not read anything by the author, but this is about the phenomena of people living in boxes in Japan, Tokyo, I believe. And I have read articles about the street people of Japan, and I am quite keen to read this. I believe it's award-winning. I'm not 100% certain. It's a thin book. When I'm in the mood for something of that nature, there it is waiting for me. There's actually a Japanese name for what I am doing, collecting hundreds of books that bring me joy, and which I fully intend to read but may never get to. Comment if you remember the word. Anna, you remember the word. Comment. Ah, yes. From that little bookshop I found in Lismore, Master of the World by Jules Verne, in this small, beautifully illustrated edition. This is not a Jules Verne I have. This is not a Jules Verne I've ever read. I am looking forward to it. The print isn't even as tiny as you'd expect. I'm really excited about it. The publisher is Airmont, of which I have heard nothing whatsoever, and this one claims to be the special contents of this edition, copyright 1965. Anyway, I'm keen for this one. Jules Verne is a fun one to read when you're in the mood. Now, a lot of what I've got here is from that children's haul, and I've got a problem with it because there were specific books from that haul that I wanted. I like this poem. It was not one of them, but as I often do when I get a huge haul of books that I've never heard of and know nothing about, I look them up. This is apparently $32 online, and I'm not sure if that's Australian or American. It blew my mind. I seriously need an Etsy website, don't I, to get if these things are worth that much. This one came up on Amazon, The Young Puffin Book of Verse, as being $100. I mean, I don't get it, but someone does. Gillian Avery, I think it's Gillian, wrote these two kids' books, and I've got both of them, and they're both in quite nice condition. Ellen and the Queen and Ellen's Birthday. They've got stunning illustrations that are wraparound, and when I saw the price of these on Amazon, I nearly had a conniption. Each of them is nearly $200 on that site. So someone will want these very good condition books. I am certainly not getting rid of them until I find someone who definitely wants them. From that haul, however, The Mouth of the Night by Iris McFarlane, I am excited about that one. I have heard that this is a good book. Heroes, talking horses, giants and spells are all to be found in this rich and haunting collection of folk tales from the highlands and islands of Scotland. I love mythology, and I don't think I have any from Scotland, so I'm excited about this one, and I had heard of that one. A Puffin Book of Verse, I think I've got sufficient verse, thank you anyway. But I was excited by James Mayo, The Man Above Suspicion. It's a pan, it's in good condition. I don't know what it is with the pans in good condition coming to me from everywhere at the moment, but I'm liking it. It can keep happening. And then, being in the mood apparently for purchasing this type of thrillery book, The Solid Gold Buddha by W.H. Canaway. I've got a feeling that I've watched a review from someone on BookTube of this one, either the author or this particular book, and that's why I got that one. But, of course, my memory is pretty bad, and I don't remember that for sure. Okay, in that same kids' book haul, there were a number of small hardbacks by Milne. This is When We Were Very Young. It goes with the Pooh Bear books, and another hardcover with etched illustrations on the cover, a beautiful front piece, and this one is The House at Pooh Corner. These are not in good condition. I do not imagine that they are worth anything, except for someone who wants to read them. Now here is one of the books that made me take on that particular haul, from the lady who was giving up the books, Tom's Midnight Garden, A. Philippa Pierce. I plan to read that in spooky October this year. I read it in the past. I used to own it. They're probably not in quite as good condition as this one. And when I went to reread it last year in October, I couldn't find it. So that's one that I passed on. I don't remember it well anymore, but I do remember it's spooky, and I do want to reread it. So I'm happy to have it. Another upgrade in this one is Daphne du Maurier, The Jamaica Inn. Someone gave me this one years ago. I read it and enjoyed it, and I do quite like it. It even kind of fits on the shelf. It's just I saw this amazing pan edition, and I just like this one better. So Daphne du Maurier will be passing on to someone else, and I'm going to be keeping the lovely pan. William Golding, Lord of the Flies. It's a puffin, and I really like the artwork. I remember it's a 1471 on the spine. I remember loathing this book when I was in primary school and forced to read it. I suspect I will still loathe it, but I want to find out. And when I went to borrow it from the library a year ago or two ago, it wasn't there. Now I don't have to. The Wheel on the School by Mende de Jong is a puffin. I haven't heard of the author. The puffin looks really exceptionally different. I've never seen a puffin this blue before. The spine isn't in great condition, so it's not telling me much information. But this is about 6 children living in the tiny Dutch village of Shora. And so basically it's a children's story, fairy story from Holland, of which I have none. So that was an easy sell for me. Okay. Still in the children's book, The Children of Green Now by Lucy McBoston and The Chimneys of Green Now by the same author. These are ones I do want to read. I believe they're borderline spooky, and I have high hopes for them. The Dawnstone by Jill Patton Wash. I don't know. I might read it. I haven't heard anything of it. It looks a bit more childish than I necessarily like in my... And here was one of the gems. Ellen Garner, Eliodor. I definitely want to read the Ellen Garners again, which start with The Weirdstone of Brisningham. Eliodor was always my favourite, and I saw this artwork, and it's so spectacular. I just had to own that one. Colin Thiel. I feel I should know him. More Colin Thiel. I still feel I should know him. And more Lucy M. Boston with the Green Now series. Now? No. Green Thingamajig series. And here we've got Maya Banks' Rush. This Maya Banks is a guilty pleasure. She writes romancy, actiony things. I haven't read the series Rush belongs to, but I have read some of her other series. When you're in the mood for that sort of thing, you are in the mood for that sort of thing. And when I am, I shall read and review it. Marian Dreams I don't know nothing about. Not even where the cover might be. Never Jam Today came up with a hideously high price on Amazon, and that scared me too. Then there are a number of tiny little things that I'm going to have to decide if they're going to a free library or not. The Shrinking of Treehorn in 2 editions. I don't get it, but whatever. The lady was a teacher, so that might be it. Evans Graded Verse 4. There's a note in that, so that's probably cost something ridiculous online. A Grand Cause. The hunger strike and the deportation of anarchists from Soviet Russia. This is fascinating. I can find nothing about this on the internet. So I'm kind of fascinated by that because the internet kind of knows everything mostly. A little bit more adult, we've got The Martian Inca by Ian Watson. I mean, it's Martian, so how can that not entertain me? And it's an Incan Martian. Okay, can't wait. The Iron Man by Ted Hughes was another one from that kids' haul that I just had to have. I believe I have read the Iron Man years ago. I owned the Iron Woman, and it's Ted Hughes. I had to have it. Again, another kids' book with a ridiculous price tag on it. Laura Ingalls Wilder. I keep wondering if I should get back into them. I don't remember loving them, and it's not in great condition, so it's not worth anything. We'll see. More Colin Thiel, and I am still perturbed by my lack of recognition, but it's got either C seagulls or possibly terns on the cover. So that one I probably will read. It's called Magpie Island, but I know a magpie when I see it, and that ain't no magpie, I feel. The Mouse and His Child, maybe not. Sea Stranger, Fire Brother, and Earth Father. Now this one sounds like it is mythological, and I do think I will read this one. It's 3 stories of Wolf, the Saxon boy, and Seth, the holy man who converts him to Christianity. I mean, it's a shame that he gets converted, but Northumbria and the East Saxons, that's the era of history that I'm right into, so high hopes. Mother Goose Lost, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have this in my collection. I have too many already, I shouldn't have that. This was very intriguing. Compare la Pin, the Tar Baby. Now, I have read the Tar Baby story, but this one sounds like it's really, really interesting. It's Louisiana folk tales, and it's a strange printing. It looks like it's small press or an individual press, and I'm curious about this. I couldn't find much that I believed about that online. Okay, now here's another one of the things that I was keen for. It's the Narnia series. Now, I have the Narnia series. They're down there on the shelf behind me somewhere. They are beyond battered. I have a similar edition to The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, but it's no longer readable because it is falling apart. The pages actually have small bits fall off it when you try. So I was really keen to have another one, a copy of this edition, to read it next time I read the Narnia series. And there's The Last Battle. The Last Battle is the only book that I don't have from these Puffin series, which I regret because they're far superior to the other ones. Anyhow, I'm going to have to trim down some of these kids' books before they go on the shelf, whether it's the red shelf or the to-read shelf. And now, by special appearance, many thanks to Nick from the Books Graveyard, I got a special delivery in the post office box today, and I haven't really looked through it, so that's what we're doing together now. Chirp. Nick did run by me what I might want him to put in this book before we closed, but it's a long time ago. It's more than 5 minutes. I don't remember. However, there are heaps of Edgar Rice Burroughs, an author that I'm finding very difficult to track down in the wild in Australia. We've got Edgar Rice Burroughs of the Mucker. Oh, it's the first Ace edition. Aces are also rare, so I'm really, really happy to have more Edgar Rice Burroughs. We've got The Wizard of Venus and Pirate Blood from Bell Book and Comic, apparently. We have got John Carter of Mars. I have been so wanting to read this one. I know I read it ages ago, but it's been too long, and yeah, I'm just so happy. Oh, Pellucidar! Oh, I'm so happy about that. Yes, Tanner Pellucidar. I love the Pellucidar books back when I read them as a teenager. Haven't reread them since. And we've got Lost on Venus and Thuvia Maid of Mars. Thuvia Maid of Mars. So long since I read that one. Whereas Lost on Venus, I don't think I've ever even read that one, so hooray. Ooh, we've got The Clone, a science fiction novel by Theodore L. Thomas and Kate Wilhelm. I don't find too many Kate Wilhelm, so that's exciting. Yes, Pellucidar. And Savage Pellucidar. Look at that cover. That cover on its own. Who couldn't love a book like that? And they're in cute little covers too. I really should start doing that more often. Ooh, Doppelgangers by H.F. Hurd. Is exciting. Great cover art. It looks someone like there's a kidney in half, and half of a little red guy and half is a green guy. I'll find out more about these covers and tell you when I read them. Warlord. Oh, we're into the Ace Double territories. Again, Ace Doubles. quite hard to find in Australia. We've got The Ladder in the Sky on one side and The Darkness Before Tomorrow by Robert Moore Williams on the other. Love that artwork. Warlord of Kor by Terry Carr on this side. And The Star Wasps by Robert Moore Williams on the other. Yes, yes, yes. And here we have The Celestial Blueprint and Other Stories by Philip Jose Farmer. That's timely. I'm reading Farmer at the moment, and I wouldn't mind trying some of his short stories. And The Cachet from Outer Space, again by Farmer. The Secret Agent of Terror by John Brunner. Ooh, I like the sound of that one. And on the other side, The Rim of Space by Bertram Chandler. We've got The Water of Thought by Fred Saberhagen. Excellent. Another author that doesn't leap out to you from the shelves of Australia. And, We the Venusians by John Rackham. Terror Quest on the Misty Planet. With a sandworm on the cover. And here we have The Repairmen of Cyclops by John Brunner. I'm loving how much John Brunner I'm seeing. And Enigma from Tantalus, also John Brunner. Great artwork there. We have got another ace double here, Battle on Venus by William F. Temple. And The Silent Invaders by Robert Silverberg. And here is a non-ace double, Mutiny in Space by Avron Davidson. Excellent. Yet another author. I don't think I've got actually any Avron Davidson, so this is very welcome. And, I do have more Avron Davidson. Here we are, The Enemy of My Enemy. Wow. What happened to cover art that we used to be able to do it so well, and now we just can't seem to? Mercedes Lackey, Children of the Night. I'm going to guess that me and Nick, we must have discussed this at some point, because Mercedes Lackey is an author I've read a lot of and quite enjoy. Never heard of this one though. And so, yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm of course going to sit down, take a closer look at all of them later, but Secret of the Lost Race by Andre Norton. Apparently you find her everywhere in the US, but here, not so much. And this is a weird split double, and on the other side we've got One Against Heraclium by Jerry Sohl. S-O-H-L. However you pronounce that, Jerry, let me know in the comments. We have more Burroughs, The Moon Men, Edgar Rice Burroughs, with a fantastic picture of a great big blue-grey troll with a sword that's probably bigger than I am. Fantastic. Samuel R. Delany, The Einstein Intersection. I have wanted to read this for quite some time. I think several people on the BookTubes have read it, enjoyed it, and I've been envious. So there it is. Star Hunter by Andre Norton. An intriguing cover, I feel, with one of those interesting split doubles, which has the Beastmaster on the other side, again by Norton. Worlds of the Imperium by Keith Laumer. Excellent. Look at those helmets. I don't know what they're trying to encapsulate in those helmets, but it works. Okay, and right at, lucky last from this box of books and other treats is another Avram Davidson, What Strange Stars and Skies, with a fantastic cover art. That's a worthy cover art to finish on. Okay, huge haul. There are many, many books on my table that need sorting now. That'll be fun. Thank you for watching me exhibit my complete and utter lack of self-restraint when it comes to purchasing books. I think I have now officially got over 600 books on my to-read shelf, but that's okay. It means that I am never going to run out of books to read, right? Right? Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Read good books and plenty of them.